The Cosmic Game, Reflections by Badri Rickhi. Chapter 1, Reflections. How can we grow if all we do is hide from what challenges our discomfort? The Cosmic Game.
Imagine that there is a bucket full of milk. Each drop of milk feels that it is an individual personality separate from the other drops of milk. If you were to release one drop of poison onto one drop of milk, gradually the entire bucket of milk would be poisoned. Similarly, if you were to release one drop of grace onto one drop of milk, the complete bucket will be filled with grace. This was the answer to a discussion I had with a spiritual being called Narayani Amma. I asked if she could explain an issue that people were complaining about. Usually, there were many people that flocked to see Amma daily. Not everyone could have a private meeting with her. Many turned up with the hope that she would be able to help them in their need. Each was suffering in some way. Many were holding on to the hope that whatever struggle they were experiencing, Amma would miraculously heal. Some people became upset when they could not meet with her. I mentioned to her that some of these people felt that she spent more time with certain people and less with others. She gently shook her head, smiled, and did not immediately respond. She made the comment about the drops of milk a few days later when she and I were walking together. I will never forget the powerful message I received as she presented it with such elegance and simplicity. She was talking about how connected we all are, but how separated we all feel. Blessing the people she saw also blessed those she did not. I should explain briefly who Narayani Amma is. Some years ago, I had become aware that there was a spiritual person from India who would come to Canada every few years. I had a brief background on her. I liked that this person encouraged everyone to commit to his or her religious beliefs and to be better at it. Narayani Amma would hold discourses with people of different faiths. She helped them empower themselves to be better Christians, Jews, Hindus, or whatever faith they professed. I indicated an interest in knowing when she was returning. One day my brother called to let me know that Narayani Amma was coming to Toronto during a certain time period. He felt that I should come to see her. At that time, I had bought some new equipment for my clinical program, so money was short. I remember that night talking to God. I did not have the money to travel. If God wanted me to go, please let me know. Somehow, I would make sure that I got there. The next day, in the midst of seeing clients, I was suddenly interrupted by a call from Health Canada. They asked me if I were willing to attend a meeting in Toronto. They would pay my flight. It was exactly at the time that Narayani Amma was visiting. I phoned my brother to let him know that I would be coming. I explained about my obligations for the meeting. I had asked the person at Health Canada if I could stay a few days longer in Toronto. He replied that the ticket would actually cost less, as I would be returning during the middle of the week. My brother informed me that Amma had just a few minutes earlier told him that she would come to stay at his house exactly at the time I had been available. That first visit with Amma was a significant moment in my life. What was so meaningful for me was her presence. She radiated joy, love, and compassion. She explained that God loved all of creation. All religions led to God, and we all needed to practice our religion with kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and love for our fellow human beings. Amma said that service to humanity without expectations was a wonderful way to connect with God. I can truly sympathize with anyone who is starting on a journey of self-realization. Our world has become so complex and demanding that when we set out to seek our truth, we may lose courage as soon as obstacles, conflicts, temptations, and threats begin to surface. We become busy trying to navigate our journey through life, and this separates us from our connections with others and ourselves. Whenever we put pressures and expectations on ourselves to seek our divinity, as a rule, many of us will fail. This may sound like a contradiction, but it is what usually takes place. It certainly reinforces our despair. However, the divine universe has always made available to us some of these secrets and rules of personal and spiritual change. Usually, these rules are hidden in plain sight right before our eyes. When we meet with people who have touched on their divinity, they are so full of peace and simplicity. They radiate such a feeling of love that we thirst to be like them. We have a strong intuitive feeling of what we want to achieve, but getting there is the problem. We assume the spiritual journey requires major changes in every aspect of our core beliefs. We feel that in order to succeed, we need to set aside hours a day for practice, time which we do not have. The word sacrifice tends to repeat in our mind because we feel that we have to give up aspects of our life in order to achieve our goal. This becomes such an overwhelming proposition that many of us are doomed to fail. It is no wonder that many yogis go into solitude so that the significant issues and demands of regular life will not affect them. Monks are known to go into retreats where they are supported and supplied with food and requirements of daily living. This enables them to follow their process without interruption. Most of us do not have that choice. Our world is our cave, and it is full of noise, activity, and distractions. Divinity recognizes our dilemma and provides appropriate solutions for our specific circumstances. We simply need to listen and be aware of these solutions. As human beings, we tend to look at what works for others and then we try to make that applicable to ourselves. We borrow outside models and attempt to make them our own. This will only work well if the problem and the solution fit. However, if we are trying to understand our own true reality by using methods that do not fit, for instance, by forcing time in an already busy day to meditate, then again we are most likely doomed to fail. We scramble around reading books, chasing workshops, and following the latest guru. We try too hard without the right instructional guide and then feel frustrated when we do not reach our intended destination. Being on the spiritual path is like being given a new prototype of a futuristic vehicle and being told that it will take us to our destination more efficiently, quickly, and with more fun. However, the manual is missing. Suddenly, we realize we do not know how to control this powerful machine. If we are able to find the manual and understand how this vehicle operates, we consequently become good drivers. We have confidence on how to set our direction and arrive at any destination we choose. What would such a manual look like? In our Western culture, we often believe that an answer needs to be intellectually complex to be true. Actually, divinity functions in the opposite way. Simply, we do not need to overhaul our lives all at once. If we have the instruction book on how reality operates and we make small changes, we can achieve wonderful results. Divinity creates the best results with minimum effort and the time from us. As we come to understand and reflect on the simple rules by which divinity works, we will gain a better understanding of what is taking place as events unfold in our lives. We then have choices to change our beliefs and our actions with more awareness. As we are more familiar with operating the car, our spiritual journey becomes more fulfilling. For many of us, our life is like a stage performance. We go through our lives as though we were performing an improvised skit or improv. As life happens, we keep reacting to every scene change and character, every crisis and plot that takes place at that immediate moment, without seeing the big picture or plan. Our life improv needs continuous effort and energy every day and at all times. We chase results rather than create them. The cosmic game accepts the way our life is playing out, but creates small interventions which powerfully focus us on our spiritual journey. Our path becomes different. It manifests as a wonderful drama worthy of a renowned theater stage, director, and scriptwriter. As our life drama unfolds, the story, with all the backstage preparation, flows smoothly. The lights, costumes, set decorations, and the scene changes. It gives our drama purpose, clear direction, and leads to a beautiful finale. The whole production has depth, subtle elements, is reproducible, more fulfilling, and actually becomes easier to perform as time goes along. The performance provides a sense of wholeness and spiritual meaning for us and gives our audience and our lives inspiration and faith. I come from a background that has strong ties to various religions. My father was a very devout Hindu. My mother came from a strong Presbyterian family. I received my education at a Roman Catholic high school. It was a seminary for priests. My wife comes from an Anglican background, and we got married in an Anglican church ceremony. I have studied and practiced the principles of Buddhism. When I look back at this religious complexity, I now see what I could not then. It was as if the divine was shaping a unique process for me. My parents always accepted each other's beliefs. We participated in all religious faiths. When I left to go abroad to university, my mother gave me a Bible. My father gifted me with a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a Hindu scripture book. There were times when I felt so lonely in spirit. I would randomly open my Bible, and without fail, a message in it would comfort me. At other times, I would have dreams or moments of insight about messages taught in the Bhagavad Gita. It was as if the divine was available to me through many teachings. One particular memory comes back to me. It was during my residency in psychiatry. I was starting one afternoon on emergency duty at my hospital. The nursing supervisor, a former Catholic nun, was updating the ward situation. Something caught her attention. On both my wrists were small healing puncture wounds. They were the exact size, shape, and location on each wrist. She immediately asked to have a better look. She kept saying that it was the Easter week and that this was stigmata. It did not make any sense to me. I was not feeling any powerful spiritual surge within. I was certainly not feeling worthy of any of this. I now realize that the message was in what she said to me and not whether it was a stigmata or not. Previously, if I were in high school, I would have been told that this was a sign that God wanted me to become a Catholic. However, she said that God expressed himself through all of creation and all were equal. She said that for her, what she had seen had filled her with the wonder and omnipotence of her God. During my high school years, I always felt that there was a pressure on me to embrace the right religion, or I could spend the rest of my life not being saved. I now realize how much stress that was for me. It simmered as a very deep fear of mine. Mary, the ex-Catholic nun, and later Amma, a holy person from India, had reassured me that I was loved by God. God loved me not because of my religion, but because of me. I could embrace all religions and connect with the divine. Over the years, I realized that the understanding of spiritual principles was becoming more confused. People were trying to mix and match principles. If I looked around, people like myself were hungry for good learning and practical directions. Dr. David Sackett, a pioneer in evidence-based medicine, spoke about how people respond to health choices. He described that they are based on induction, deduction, or seduction. I realized that this could be applied to spirituality. We often allow ourselves to be seduced by others. Those who finally connect with the divine recognize that it is through their own will and determination that this is accomplished. Teachers can play a significant role. Ultimately, our destiny is in our hands. I am a psychiatrist and researcher, as well as a student on this path. I want more deduction and induction. The cosmic game is the fruit of many years of not only my own journey, but also the journey of so many friends and their families. The principles have been tested and published in scientific journals. The people who practiced with me are the reason for writing this book. Some of them are its editors. I am ever grateful for the passion I see in them as they journey through life while using the concepts. As one person describes it, spirituality is a complex issue. The cosmic game simplifies it and then makes it available to all who would like to experience the principles and simple techniques. So, what can you expect from the cosmic game? No one who participated felt that it criticized their religious beliefs or encouraged them to seek another religion. This included the participants of our research studies. Many reported that they grew stronger in their own faith. It was fascinating how the feedback was so consistent. While practicing the forgiveness technique, many of them recounted the incomprehensible grandeur of the sudden appearance of divine consciousness. They talked about the powerful but unexplainable change that took place within them. Feedback from others also noticed these changes. They appeared more at peace. They were less stressed. They were more forgiving. Things impact us better if we cannot only understand but also experience what is taking place. This book provides experiences. It provides conceptual frameworks to build on these experiences. There are stories which help us to interpret what is happening in our lives. There are techniques which help us to become unstuck. My friends describe that they feel lighter. The obstacles they face in life seem easier to manage. It is my hope that you may resonate with the spiritual laws outlined in this book. May they guide you to your divine self. As illustrated in Narayani Amma's story of the drops of milk, as each one of us moves towards enlightenment, we all receive the benefit of each other's efforts. As singer-songwriter Ben Lee so aptly puts it, we're all in this together.